So in the last video we saw how to use for loops. For loops are not the only way to use loops in Python. Other common way of using them is called while loops. So let's see what it looks like. First of all, let's recap one of the things we did in the last video. We had total is equal to 0. Then we had for I in range 1 comma 5 colon 4 spaces, total plus is equal to I, then print total. What this block did was it added up all the numbers through all the integers to 1 to 5, not including 5, to total, and then we printed that number, and that number is 10 plus, because 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 is 10. So can we do the same thing with the while loop? The answer is yes. Let's see what that look like. First initialize total 2 is equal to 0. Then we're gonna write while j is less than 5, do the following. Actually, while loop doesn't initialize j, so we need to initialize j is equal to 0, or sorry 1, before we go into the while loop. While j is less than 5, do the following, which is 4 spaces of course, total 2 plus j, add j to the total 2 variable, and then j plus is then j plus equals to 1, and and add 1 to j, and after while loop we gonna going to print. What this block says is when we go to the while loop, check if j is less than 5, and it's true because j is equal to 1 right now. 2 plus is equal to j, add j total, j will become 2. At that point, go back to the beginning of the loop again. We're gonna check if j is less than 5. Of course 2 is less than 5. We go to that again. Once j is 4, we'll say add 1 to j, j will become 5, and we go back to here. We'll stop the loop here because j is no longer less than 5, and then we will print total 2. So we will print total 2 with a print function here. Okay, we need to remove 4 spaces here. When we run the cell, you can see here output is 10. This block is do the same thing as previous block with a for loop. So why would we want to use while loops instead of for loops? It depends upon the situation, but one, the situation is useful when we don't know how many loops you need beforehand. I'm gonna give you the example. Let's say you initialize given underscore list here, and in square bracket you are giving some elements. Let's say 5 comma 4 comma 4 comma 3 comma 1 comma -2 comma -3, and last element is -5. Let's say you don't necessarily know contents of this list beforehand, but you know that this list is sorted and it is in the descending order. Largest number comes first in this list, and when you go right, you know that the number always go down So 4 is less than 5 and minus 2 is less than 1 and so on. And let's say you want to find the sum of the positive numbers in this list. How can we do that? We want to do is we want to run some kind of a loops so that iterate over the elements only the positive ones. So that we don't know how many loops we need to find the sum of positive numbers. So in a situation like this, for loops can be useful. Let's see what that looks like. By first defining total 3 is equal to 0. So let's define total 3 variable is equal to 0, and then index I is equal to 0 as well. And then we're gonna write while loop here. Given underscore list square bracket I greater than 0, give a colon here. So here we are mentioning that while this variable which we define which is greater than 0, then total 3 is equal to given underscore list square bracket I enter I plus is equal to 1. So what we are saying here is first check current element in given list. Since I will start at 0, first current element of given list will be first element, which is 5. While this element is greater than 0, do the following. First add the current element given list current bracket I total 3, then increment I by 1. So that means just go to the next item. If we are examining this current item here, I would be 0. Let's go to the next item, which is index 1. When I is equal to 1 will be the second item 4, and that's greater than 0. Add that to the total 3, it will be go to the next item. We are going to do that until we are till we are here. So index will be 0 1 2 3 4 5, and at this point square bracket 5 will be negative 2, which is not greater than 0, and we will break out of the while loop. After that we can print total 3, and let's see if we get the correct answer here. Let's remove the 4 spaces here and run the cell. Answer is 17, and ideally correct answer should be sum of all these numbers till 1, that is 5 plus 4 plus 4 plus 3 plus 1, and that is 17, that is 9 13 16 17. Look. So this little method works, but only if the given list contains a list of non-positive numbers. What will happen if this given list only had positive numbers? For example, 54431. Let's see what happens by running the say. Let's remove the negative numbers here, and let's see by running the cell. Let's see what happens. Oh, okay, list index out of the range. index error, it actually makes sense because when I is equal to 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, we go to the list. If you look at the code, we go to this list, given list square bracket 4 is greater than 0, then we go to this spot I plus 1 equal to 1, I will be 5, then you check here, given list. So let me explain once again what happens when we remove the negative elements from the list, and when we run the cell here we are facing the error, that is the index error, mentioning that list index is out of the range. Actually it makes sense because when I is equal to 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, when we go to the list, given list 1, given list given underscore list square bracket I, that is 4. So if you try to understand why this error we got, if you see in this condition, while given underscore list I, if we put here, let's say I is 4, that is index, this I is nothing but the index. So and here if you see in the given list variable, uh, I mean elements of given list variable, these are index 0, index 1, index 2, index 3, index 4. But here we don't see any element at index 5. So when, let's say here I is nothing, I is 4, which is greater than 0, when we run the cell we will get some output, and it will go when this condition gets fulfilled, then it will go to this line, then adding 1 to the I will become 5. But and when we ask Python to run the code, but then it says that it is list index is out of the range, because at index 5 there is no element here. So there is a way to resolve this. So we need to fix it by additional condition to the while loop, saying I is less than 5, and actually instead of saying 5 explicitly, we could also say length of given list, which means the length of given list. And here we should not mention of explicitly, we need to because length len is the predefined function in the Python. Once we run the cell, and here we can see here we get the output here 70. By initializing this condition, I is less than length of given list. Now let's create a new list. Let's see another example here. Given underscore list is equal to, in square bracket, both positive as well as negative numbers, 5 comma 4 comma 4 comma 3 comma 1 comma minus 2 comma minus 3 comma minus 5. You might ask, given this list, can we add all positive numbers using for loop instead of a while loop? Answer is yes, we can. Let's see how that works. We're gonna define total 4 is equal to 0, and then we're gonna write Let's write for element in given underscore list to colon if element is less than or equal to 0, then use break statement here. Then total plus is equal to element and print element. So how this works is this is gonna add up elements up to here 1. If 1 is less than 1 0, then we are not gonna break, so we are going to add 1